This is the worst crisis since the Great Depression, and people don't know where their congressman is?
All right, so there is a big race in New York's 16th district between Jamaal Bowman and incumbent Eliot Engel. So this is in the Democratic primary. Eliot Engel is a 16-term incumbent. It's been there since the, I think, mid-90s. And he is just, the perfect corporate Democrat in terms of the money he takes in. And also, not just in terms of corporate money he's taking in, but also GOP money he's taking in. But before I even show you that, let me show you where the race currently is. So the newest poll here, latest poll out from Data for Progress, shows Jamaal Bowman up by 10 points on Eliot Engel. Now, understand how big of a deal this is. Jamaal Bowman is the challenger here. Eliot Engel's been there forever. He has the name recognition. Engel does. So you would expect him to really maintain a lead, a solid lead, and still have the potential of Jamaal Bowman flipping when it comes to primary day. But here we are already seeing the movement on the ground. And if you think back to when AOC was challenging Joe Crowley, there was no poll showing AOC beating Joe Crowley. In fact, there was no poll showing her even within 30 points of Joe Crowley before primary day. But because of the work that her and her campaign put in, whether on the ground, also help from individual donors, small donors, helping her campaign create, videos and that kind of thing, and really get the word out there. Because of all that hard work that she did and her campaign did, she was able to flip that 30-point deficit into a victory against Joe Crowley. And we are potentially seeing that here as well. Now, the difference here, as opposed to Joe Crowley, is Joe Crowley didn't see it coming. So it caught him off guard. They weren't really ready to properly fight against AOC. For the most part, Crowley was ignoring her. Eliot Engel is aware of the challenge, and part of the way he's taking up the challenge is by taking in GOP money. So I covered this recently, but it's worth repeating. GOP money flowing to Super PAC backing Representative Eliot Engel, documents show. So let me just read a little bit here to give you some extra context in terms of what is happening. The Super PAC is called Americans for Tomorrow's Future, following in the proud tradition of nonsensically named political action committees. The connections to the GOP are apparent enough that the Center for Responsive Politics listed as a Republican conservative PAC. The PAC's treasurer, David Satterfield, is a former aide to one-time Republican Senate leader Bill Frist. Satterfield works now at Huckabee Davis Lisker, a prominent firm that does election compliance and accounting work for Republican campaigns. This cycle, the firm is handling the accounts of the National Republican Senatorial Committee, National Republican Congressional Committee, and the campaign of Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, among dozens of other GOP operations. So this is where Eliot Engel, a Democrat, is getting a lot of his money from conservatives. Now, this is because, in case you're thinking, wow, this is crazy, it's because this is New York. So this is a deeply blue district. Whoever wins this primary is going to end up taking that seat. So if Jamaal Bowman wins the primary, he's going to take the seat from Eliot Engel, or from whoever is in that race with them going into November. But so that's where the real fight is. So Republicans, knowing that, instead of sitting this out, they're thinking, well, in the case that we're likely going to lose the seat in November, we're going to back Eliot Engel because, for the most part, Eliot Engel is a conservative. He's conservative when it comes to his positions, especially on foreign policy. He's incredibly hawkish on foreign policy, and he's in the House Foreign Affairs Committee. So Eliot Engel has a powerful position in the House and has conservative positions when it comes to his policies. Now, let me show you a little more here. So, Justice Democrats put out a recent ad. So they're one of the big backers of Jamaal Bowman. And I'll show you more endorsements that Jamaal Bowman has later. But this is a recent ad they put out with Jermaine Williams, who's the public advocate in New York City. So check this out.
These streets are filled with black bodies abused by a plague of systemic racism. But these streets don't care. Filled with the same old politicians pushing the same old ideas. We need a voice from our streets. Jamaal Bowman. Been an educator here for over 20 years. Jamaal Bowman is our voice. And we will have justice. Justice Democrats is responsible for the content of this ad.
All right, so you see there, solid ad, 30-second ad for Jamaal Bowman. I imagine this one's playing on television as it's set up that way, as a 30-second ad. But this is one of the many ads that Jamaal Bowman has. I'll show you a longer one. I've played this before, but since the election's a few days away, it's really worth highlighting this campaign and what Jamaal Bowman is all about. So check out this one.
The virus hit our cities the hardest. Thousands die every day, most of them Black and Latino. People are losing their jobs and can't pay rent, while Congress bails out corporations. We need leaders who understand what we're going through. I'm Jamaal Bowman, public school educator for 20 years, the son of a single mom raised in public housing. Growing up, my mother told me life wouldn't be easy for people like us. That's why I've spent my career building opportunities for families in our community. Over the last 20 years, I've mentored hundreds of kids and supported parents who had to make the difficult choice between putting food on the table, going to the doctor, and paying their rent, all while our government continues to ignore them. That's why I decided to run for Congress. I asked voters about our current representative, Eliot Engel, and I hear one word across the district: absent. This is the worst crisis since the Great Depression, and people don't know where their congressman is? The truth is, he's never really in the district. He even called his home in Maryland his primary residence. He doesn't live in our community. I live in our struggles. He's taken us for granted. After 31 years of the same, it's time for a change. In Congress, I will fight for universal health care through Medicare for all, rebuilding our economy through millions of Green New Deal jobs, and protecting our immigrants from deportation. I'll fight to bring down the cost of rent and housing so families can keep food on the table and a roof over their heads. And unlike my opponent, I'm not taking a dime from corporations. Our grassroots coalition is doing everything it can to protect our communities in this crisis. We deserve a representative who will do the same. Vote for Jamaal Bowman to be your next representative in Congress.
All right. I mean, this is a race to watch. And I mean, I showed you he's doing well right now in terms of being 10 points up, but it's the kind of thing where you have to get out and vote. You have to actually be there. You can't just rely on these polls and assume he's going to win it. If you're in that district, man, make sure you go out and vote. Now, I didn't plan this, but I did see a video from Jamaal Bowman today that he put up discussing the attacks that he's been receiving from Eliot Engel. So what they have now been focusing on, since Eliot Engel realizes he's in a deficit right now in this race and polling, they've been going, in the gutter. So they're attacking Jamaal Bowman over being a former independent. They're attacking him for the fact that he had debt, like millions of other Americans. So let me show you Jamaal Bowman's approach to this, because if you're feeling down, you're having a bad day, go check Jamaal Bowman's feed, because when he puts up videos, I mean, this man has energy. He's happy. Check out how he's responding to these attacks from Eliot Engel.
What's up, family? It's Jamaal Bowman here. Hope everyone out there is staying safe and doing well and continuing to protest and resist police brutality and institutional racism. Just laughing, man. Congressman Engel doesn't have much to go on except these baseless attacks. First of all, a couple weeks ago, I was a communist. Then I was a McCain supporter who never voted for Obama. Now I, owe all these taxes. And all of a sudden I had a failing school, even though in 10 and a half years we've never been on the failing list. And we've been celebrated for our academic growth and all the work we've done in the community. It's crazy, because he hasn't run a strong campaign that's connected with the people and is built on deep relationships and love for the community. All he could do is attack and send mailers and take this dark money and run these commercials. But the people know the difference. The people know we're rooted in love and support And that will never go away. I'm running for office because I love our people, I love our community, and I love this country, and we're going to move it in the right direction. So, Congressman Engel and anybody else who supports that, just wanted to make this video for you.
All right. He then goes on to play some music, which unfortunately I can't play. Otherwise, I'd be taken down for copyright. But Bowman, check him out. Let me show you some of the endorsements he has. So before I even read through some of these, Eliot Engel, in case you're wondering who's backing him, Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton's only, as far as I've seen, her only endorsement in a Democratic House primary race has been for Eliot Engel, really showing you how terrible she is and has always been. Andrew Cuomo also backing Eliot Engel, and the Congressional Black Caucus showing you where their interests lie, in corporate interests in the establishment. Jamaal Bowman, on the other hand. So New York Times, which honestly is one I don't really care about, but I guess it matters. So New York Times, New York State Nurses Association, Just Democrats, Working Families, Sunrise Movement, Move On, the DSA, CPD Action, big progressive group, tons of big groups here. Let me go down to some of the names here. So Jermaine Williams, as I said, AOC, of course, Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, Katie Porter, Ayanna Pressley, Jessica Cisneros, Zephyr Teachout, Cynthia Nixon, Tiffany Caban, Naomi Klein. So yeah, Abdul El-Sayed, Marianne Williamson. Anyways, fantastic people. A lot of fantastic endorsements. Jamaal Bowman clearly is the choice you want to vote for here. You can also check out his issues. He's a fighter, of course, for Medicare for All, for defunding the police, many other solid issues here. You can check it out on his page. But anyways, bowmanforcongress.com. When I cut this into a separate video from the live stream, I will put a link to it below the video, but you can find him easily. bowmanforcongress.com. Volunteer, support, donate, whatever you can. Help him win. This is a seat right now that is one of the most flippable seats possible when it comes to getting progressives in and getting these corporate Democrats out. So support Jamaal Bowman.